Hey there, gang. Welcome to the podcast. Have you been watching the Olympics? I've been watching the Olympics. I'm such a huge Olympics fan. And a couple of weeks ago, Salt Lake City was announced as the Winter Olympic winning the bid for 2034. So I pretty much lost my mind. And they actually did the announcement like in the middle of the night on July 24th. And the reason why I remember that is because the 24th of July is a huge holiday here in Utah. It's a state holiday. If you work, you get paid double pay. When I was in college, I worked at Nordstrom in the summer in Brass Plum, and I got double pay when I worked on the 24th of July. So I would work during the day, and then I would go and do all the barbecuing and swim parties with my friends and my family. And I was like, I'm rich. I just got paid for 2 days for the time price of one, and I got to have fun on the holiday with everyone. So it's super fun. So we have like a giant parade. It's a 175-year-old tradition. The only parade bigger than this parade that we do here on Pioneer Day is the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. So I want you to imagine the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade in July. So it's like Thanksgiving in July. And people spend the whole year making their floats for it. It's just so much fun. And we celebrate our pioneer heritage of like the pioneer ancestors coming into the Utah Valley and saying, this is the place, this is where we will settle. So kind of cool. And it's just a fun day of family. Everybody takes off work and you just get together and have barbecues. It's sort of like a second 4th of July is how I describe it, but feels like Thanksgiving, because it's just very much like family, friends, freedom, country, all of that. It's very like when you decorate for the 24th of July, we decorate in like USA flags, patriotism, like all that kind of stuff. So it's like a second 4th of July, but bigger, like Thanksgiving, bigger. And you always make the same food and you have all the stuff. Anyway, so much fun. So they announced the Olympic bid, and everybody, it was like an extra celebration, right? Like it felt like an even bigger 24th of July parade, because everybody was like, it's coming to Salt Lake City in 2034. And so it just felt like even more special because we were already celebrating, and it took all of our celebrations like one step higher. Anyway, so I don't know if you've seen the Netflix special on Simone Biles. Not sure if you're watching the Olympics right now, but I love to watch the Olympics. There's just something about watching people practice a skill over and over and over again at their highest potential, working with the best coaches on the planet to help them achieve their success. And it got me thinking about how the highest, best performing network marketers oftentimes have shame around hiring a coach. I know that in the company that I built in, and I've talked with so many, hundreds of top leaders in other different companies who feel this way. And there's sort of like this stigma that has been built around it. You might hear leaders in your company say things to you like, well, I never needed a coach to hit the top. Like, why do you need a coach? Or if you're getting a coach, it means you must need help. Something must be wrong with your business. There's this stigma there that nobody really talks about, but it just sits there. And I can't tell you how many top leaders tell me that they've hired coaches and they keep it a secret because they don't want anyone to know that they need a coach, as if it's something that only people that are failing need. But that's just not true. It's not true at all. And I want to dispel that myth today. And I want to use the Olympics as an example, since we're watching the Olympics, since it's going on right now. At the time of this recording, we are in the middle of the Olympics, Summer Olympics of 2024. If you're listening to this years down the road, that's when I'm recording this. That's when this is happening for you. And I just want to empower you that coaches are not just for suffering businesses. Everybody needs a coach. Simone Biles needs a coach. All the athletes at the Olympics. Did you know there's nobody at the Olympics without a coach? There's not. Even look at the Cool Runnings movie from back when I was a kid. That was the Jamaican bobsled team, and people laughed at them. It's a true story. They laughed at them for even being in the Olympics, because why would Jamaica be in the bobsled Winter Olympics? And they were the laughing stock, but they ended up winning and having a tremendous experience because of their coach. So whether you're at the top of your game or you are new and you have nobody even respects you for being there, you're not going to compete at your highest level of potential without a coach. So if you are the best person in your network marketing business right now, you're the number one person in your company, you're not reaching your full potential if you don't currently have a coach. Period. End of story. And how do I know that? Because there's a reason that Olympians hire coaches. They are the best athletes in the entire world. And in order to reach their highest potential, they must have a coach, because human beings have brains, and our brains are separated into two major pieces, the prefrontal cortex and the lower primitive brain. And the lower primitive brain is the one that's like, you can't do this. You have no business being here. That was luck. You're never going to be able to do that again. Gosh, you're winning. You better watch your back. Probably failures around the corner. You've always failed before, right? But that higher prefrontal brain, that's the powerful part of our brain. It's what separates us from the animals. It's the metacognition, being able to think about our own thinking. And unfortunately, we can't read the ketchup label from inside the bottle. And so when in the Netflix documentary where Simone Biles talks about how she got the twisties and how it messed up her ability to perform, it literally risked her life. I knew when she was in the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, we watched live when, well, maybe not live because we were sleeping, but we watched it when it aired in the United States. And when she decided to step out of the Olympics, when she said, I'm not going to do it anymore. And I remember her saying for mental health issues. And I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, Olympians have those too. Like, it felt so validating to me. It made me feel like a little less crazy of like, even people that have that much coaching, that much support, struggle with mental health too, made me feel like I wasn't so alone, made me feel like I wasn't so crazy. And so I loved that she did that. And I loved watching the documentary, seeing it from like the behind the scenes footage that Netflix had been recording on her, and then talking about it after the fact now, since she's been doing that. And had time to reflect. And then it carries her journey and her sharing about how she took 18 months off, that she wasn't in the gym, and then how she had, met with a therapist weekly and how she got all that back. It's coaches that help you reach your full potential. And if you feel any shame around getting a coach because you've already hit the top of your company, and either you think that you don't need it because you're better than that, or maybe you feel ashamed because you've hit the top and you've gone back in your rank, and maybe you feel ashamed that you can't get back there on your own. What I want to say to you is, the more that I've invested in coaches, the more successful I've become. Coaching has opened doors for me, not only in meeting people that can help me scale my business to the next level. The networking part of it is huge, but also being able to talk to someone, to bounce ideas off of, to say, this is what my brain is saying to me right now. Like, what do you see it doing? Because you can't read the label of the ketchup bottle from inside the bottle. And so being able to have a coach that can see where you're at, and they can also see the gap that's possible for you to gain. 10x is better than 2x. Being able to have someone that's going to hold you accountable, that's going to raise your standard of what you think is here. This is my favorite thing that happens. Like, I always have a coach. I have had a coach from the very beginning. At first, it was my upline. Then I started investing in coaches after I hit the top of my company because I felt a little burnt out. I felt like maybe I needed to figure out a way to find my passion again. And then I became a coach. I was already a coach, let's be honest, but I got certifications. And in that process, I started building a coaching business. And that was when I really realized, I wanted to play in a bigger game. Like, when I first made the goal of I want to make $1 million a month. When I first set that goal, I was like, there's no way we're ever going to do that. And then as we've just crushed every goal we've ever made in this company, I don't ever give full credit to a coach, and I don't want you to ever give me full credit either. But it was because of the coaches that I've hired that have taught me that next level of, you can push yourself a little bit further. You can come up here. I'll help you. If there's something that you're uncomfortable with, a really good coach is going to be that zone of proximal development for you. Lev Vygotsky, is that his name? I remember I have a degree in elementary education, and he's that's one of his like famous things that he taught about how everyone has like a learning circle that they learn within. And we really get most of our growth when we're outside of our comfort zone, but there's such a thing as being too far outside of your comfort zone where you just shut down. And that's outside of your zone of proximal development. And so what a really good coach will do for you, what really good coaches have helped me to do, what I have done to coach myself in addition to all this, is to make sure that I'm inside of that zone of proximal development where I'm uncomfortable, but I'm not too far outside. So a coach is going to be able to notice where you are and then give you the support when you need to help you reach those goals that you have. So I just want to in spirit of the Olympics happening right now, and in the spirit of this unspoken thing that top leaders like myself don't talk about in the network marketing space of, there's a reason why Olympians have coaches. There's a reason why the best boxers, the best MMA, they all have coaches. Like my son, my husband, they love watching MMA fights. They love the UFC. And I don't see a single fighter step into the octagon without a coach. Usually they have two coaches. And every time that they come back from fighting, they sit down and those coaches are in their ear. They're like, okay, you got to do this. You got to do this. You're doing great. You're doing great. Then they're like helping them with their wounds on their face. They're packing their wounds. They're putting Vaseline all over. They're doing all the things. That's what a coach does. And even if you think you're at the top of your game, I promise you are not reaching your full potential without a coach. Get a coach. I would love to be that coach. Get a coach so that you can have someone that holds you to a higher level of your potential. Because without a coach, you are simply underperforming. A coach is going to hold your feet to the fire, just like coaches do at the Olympics. They're not necessarily going to be someone that's constantly cracking the whip, right? A really good coach is going to be empathetic. They're going to know when to push you and when to pull back. In the Simone Biles Netflix series, one of the things, this is not an ad, one of the things that I remember them saying is they were like, we didn't want to push her too hard. Like we were cheering for her, but we were saying to the media, like, just don't bother her, like leave her alone. Like coaches have great empathy for their clients. The perfect coach for you is not only going to be able to cast vision for, like, your brain's going to be like, yeah, I think we could sign up 100 people this month. And your coach is going to be like, but what if you do 150? What is your plan if you do 150? And you're going to be like, you're like, do you think I could do 150? And they're going to be like, I think you could do 200. And all of a sudden your metric for success goes, it just goes up to a high level. And all of a sudden you're not working for 100, you're working for 200. And so having someone, and I'm not talking about like blowing sunshine up people's, what's, right? A good coach is going to help you see what is more possible than what your brain can even imagine, because your brain is always trying to keep you safe and prove you right. And it's doing it by conserving energy, seeking pleasure, and avoiding discomfort. What I want for you is, if you are at the top of your game, whether you're the best person in your company or you hit the top and you fell back and you feel ashamed about coaches, I want you to watch every single Olympian that competes right now. Every single one of them has a coach, because even when you're at the top of your game, you need someone to help you with your head. You need someone to be able to track where you are. Like when you have the swimmers and they're like pacing them, right? And they're like, they're coaching them on where they need to hit their splits and where they need to be when they do this stroke or that stroke. The runners, they have pace setters for a reason, because the pace setter, this is one of my favorite things that we do inside the coaching mentorship. That's my certification for people that want to be stronger leaders for their team, for people that want to learn how to launch a 6-figure coaching business, for people that want to be able to not have drama on their team because they know they have better interpersonal skills because they've gone through the coaching mentorship and they're certified coaches. And then they're trauma informed so they can help their people on their team who struggle with trauma so that they can get them back into a place of safety so that they're not always in fight, flight, freeze, not able to work on their business because of their trauma, right? You learn all that inside the mentorship. But inside of there, we tell a story about this like famous runner. It used to, and I don't want to ruin it for people who go through the mentorship. So I'm not going to tell you everything, but all I'm going to say is that pace setters are people that run with the runners, and they have to, you want to be ahead of the pace setter because then you know that you're ahead of pace to set the world record. And if you start looking at your competition as pace setters instead of competition, it will not only help you to have less scarcity and more abundance, but it will help you to bring your very best game to the playing field to where, and having a coach is what helps show you who the pace setters are. It's been for me something that has truly helped me to solve problems faster, get through my drama quicker. And when I was in network marketing, having a coach was just so useful because you can't talk about the problems on your team with your downline. And if you have problems with your upline, then pretty much you just talk to your husband or someone that's your friend that's not on your team, but you can't really be totally honest with your friend because really you want her on your team too. So you can't let her know there's all this drama on your team because you want to make it look good so that she comes in and joins your team so you don't have to work with these people that have drama on your team. Am I right? Can any other top leaders relate to what I'm saying, right? So you kind of just get left in this place where you just shove it down and you're all alone. And sure, you have people at corporate, but also you want to look good in front of them because you want to speak on stage and you don't want them thinking that you have problems on your team. So if you don't have a therapist, you don't have the coach, like all you have is yourself. And then you're just alone, not sleeping, stressed. And so coaches for me have just been so useful in that way where it's somewhere I can just go and just freely talk about what I'm feeling and the problems that are in there and have them help me point out things that I'm missing or, things that my brain, thought errors that I have, all those sorts of things. This is why Olympians have coaches. This is why having a pace setter and having a coach to show you that, yeah, you could do better. You could do more. You're way underestimating what goals you should be setting, or you're way off. You're hitting way too high. Like we need to work into this. We need to break this apart into 90 days. This is what you want to do in 30 days. That's a year thing. And phase one, I know exactly what to do with you in the next 90 days so that you can be on pace to hit that goal a year from now. That's what a coach does. That's what a really good coach does. That's what really good coaches have done for me. So if you have any sort of like if I hire a coach, it means that I am not good enough to do it on my own. That's just garbage. And I want you to challenge those beliefs because they're not true. That's why Olympians have coaches. That's why MMA, UFC fighters have coaches. Everybody has a coach in the world if they want to get better. It's a thing. And I want to see this little thing in network marketing that hiring a coach means that you need help or you're not good enough or you couldn't figure it out on your own. I want that to go away because it's not true. Your success and your potential deserve better than that. Invest in yourself. Find a coach that can hold you to a higher standard and be empathetic to you along the way, that can help you with pace setting, that can help you achieve goals, that can connect you to people to help you have the business and life of your dreams. I hope you enjoy the Olympics and I hope you go get yourself a coach. All right, everybody, have an amazing day. Bye now.